Well, hello, church. Last week I shared with you about Jesus feeding the 5,000, and today I would like to follow up with the rest of that day. As the story unfolds, I want you to try to imagine yourself as one of Jesus' disciples. But first, let me give you a quick review of what happened that day. Last time, Jesus and the disciples left the crowd to take a break, only to be followed by the crowd. Jesus had compassion on them and decided to heal their sick. One disciple mentioned to Jesus that the people would need to eat soon. But Jesus did a miracle and fed the whole crowd. So now you and the other disciples get to serve those people who just ruined your vacation. Once the people were done eating, you thought, at last, finally, now we can get our rest. But instead, Jesus sent the disciples into the boat and said, "You guys go ahead to the other side. I'm going to go and pray. I'll meet up with you guys a little bit later." After a long week and a ruined retreat, now you, disciple, get to spend the whole night rowing the boat across the lake without a break, without Jesus, and without a clear idea of how or when Jesus is going to rejoin the group. And guess what? The wind is against you. What a day. Let's pick up the story in Matthew 14, verse 25. And remember, you are one of the disciples in the boat, and the wind is against you. Shortly before dawn, Jesus went out to them, walking on the lake. When the disciples saw him walking on the lake, they were terrified. "It's a ghost," they said, and cried out in fear. But Jesus immediately said to them, "Take courage, it is I, don't be afraid." "Lord, if it's you," Peter replied, "tell me to come to you on the water." "Come," he said. Then Peter got down out of the boat, walked on the water, and came toward Jesus. But when he saw the wind, he was afraid, and beginning to sink, he cried out, "Lord, save me!" Now remember, you're imagining yourself as one of the disciples in the boat. You're tired and grouchy, and now you think there's a ghost out there in the water. What would you be thinking as Peter talks to it? "Don't talk to the ghost. It's trying to trick you. It wants to eat you." Somehow, Peter walked on the water for a little while. And when he started to sink, what are the first words on your lips? "Peter, I told you so!" Let me ask, does a storm or waves cancel the need to keep our heart and faith focused on Christ? Things get really difficult sometimes. Is it acceptable to say, "I had to look away," or "things were really difficult and well, I stopped going to church. I put my prayer life on hold for a while"? Does a storm in life cancel the need to keep our faith focused on Jesus? No way! That's the most important time to keep your eyes on Jesus. It's easy to be faithful when things are all going well. When you're going through difficult times, however, that is the most important moment to keep your faith in focus. People around you, your family, friends, and coworkers, they're all watching to see what you, the Christian, is going to do. They want to see if this faith you have is real in a storm. How will it affect them if you take your eyes off of Jesus in the storm? What will they think about your faith? What will they think about your God? When difficulties come, does this faith stand the test? So, I want to point out that others are watching. If you step out in faith to follow Jesus and you sink because you lose focus on Jesus, others will be sure not to even try to step out in faith. Now, I want to use our imaginations a little bit. Let's rewind and read the story with a different ending. Remember, as I read it, picture yourself watching this story as one of the disciples in the boat. "Lord, if it's you," Peter replied, "tell me to come to you on the water." "Come," he said. Then Peter got down out of the boat, walked on the water, and came toward Jesus. And this is where it changes a little bit. The wind blew and the waves came toward Peter, but he kept his eyes focused on Jesus. He walked right up to Jesus, and Jesus gave him a high five. Now, stop here for just a second. I want to ask you, what are the disciples in the boat thinking now? If Peter can do it, then so can we. What would happen next? Let's continue the story with our alternate ending. The other disciples cried out to Jesus, "Jesus, tell us to come to you as well." "Come on, guys," he said. All 11 of them hopped out of the boat, running on the water, and they arrived at Jesus and Peter. After some encouraging words from Jesus, they all walked to shore. Who needs a boat anyway? I believe the other disciples would change their response because of Peter's behavior. Would they still need faith? Well, of course they would, but after seeing someone else who they know doing it, it wouldn't seem impossible anymore. So, a point I want to draw out of this is that others are watching. If you step out to follow Jesus and you succeed because you kept your focus on Jesus, others will be more likely to step out too. God won't give you a task to do that He won't make you able to achieve. Jesus told Peter to go to Him, and He made Peter able to walk on the water. The reason Peter didn't reach Jesus was his own fear, disbelief, and doubt. This doesn't mean that we won't encounter troubles as we obey. Our current situation has plenty of troubles. Jesus said, "In this world you will have troubles, but take heart, I've overcome the world." We'll get through it better and encourage others better if we keep our eyes on Him. I want to encourage you, church. Let's stay focused on Jesus for our own sake, for His sake, and for the sake of those who are watching. So hang in there. We'll get through this. God bless you.